In the darkness of northern Gaza, the devastation is evident. The buildings stand as empty shells, illuminated by the last remnants of light. The dirt roads across the Gaza Strip are lined with these destroyed structures, a haunting reminder of the war that has ravaged the area. At night, the only signs of life are the Israel Defense Forces vehicles that patrol the landscape, asserting their control over the northern sector. On Saturday night, we had the opportunity to travel with the IDF into Gaza to witness the discovery of a newly exposed tunnel shaft at Al-Shifa Hospital, the largest medical facility in the enclave. After crossing the border fence at around 9 o'clock in the evening, our convoy of Humvees turned off their lights and relied on night vision goggles to navigate through the Gaza Strip. We spent the next 6 hours inside Gaza, with much of that time dedicated to exploring the tunnel shaft. As we made our way through the area, it became clear that nearly every building had been damaged by the war. Some structures were completely destroyed, while others were barely recognizable amidst the twisted metal. There was no sign of life. The residents had either fled to the south or lost their lives during the 6 weeks of conflict. Our first stop was a staging area set up by the IDF on the beach. From there, we traveled in armored personnel carriers with other reporters for the final kilometer to the hospital. The only view we had of the outside world was through a night vision screen. But even in black and white, the level of destruction was shocking. Inside Gaza City, the streets were filled with the skeletal remains of apartment towers and high-rise buildings. There was no one to speak to. The city was deserted. As journalists embedded with the IDF, we were under constant media escort and had to adhere to certain conditions, such as submitting footage filmed in Gaza for review by the Israeli military and not disclosing sensitive locations or soldiers' identities. However, CNN retained editorial control over the final report. When we stepped out of the armored vehicle, we were enveloped by darkness. We were only allowed to use our red lights to navigate to a nearby building, where we waited until Israeli forces secured the area. The tunnel shaft was close by, and it was completely exposed. The commander leading our group, Lieutenant Colonel Tom, informed us that this tunnel was much larger than any he had seen before. He described it as a big tunnel, and emphasized its significant size compared to standard tunnels encountered in previous operations. We had expected to encounter fighting once we entered Gaza City. But instead, we were met with silence. Only once during our time at the hospital did we hear distant small arms fire, and it was impossible to determine its proximity in the midst of the urban environment. The prevailing silence made the darkness even more oppressive. As we approached the exposed tunnel shaft, it was evident that the structure itself was substantial. At the top, the remnants of a ladder hung over the opening, and a center pole in the center of the round shaft resembled a hub for a spiral staircase. The shaft extended down farther than we could see, especially in the dim light of our headlamps. The IDF released video footage from inside the shaft, revealing a spiral staircase leading down into a concrete tunnel. According to the IDF, the tunnel shaft extends approximately 10 meters downwards, and the tunnel itself runs for 55 meters. At the end of the tunnel stands a metal door with a small window. "We need to demolish the underground facility that we found," said IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari. "I think the leadership of Hamas is under great pressure because we found this facility, and we are now going to demolish it. It's going to take us time. We're going to do it safely, but we're going to do it," said IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari. I think the leadership of Hamas is under great pressure because we found this facility, and we are now going to demolish it. It's going to take us time. We're going to do it safely, but we're going to do it. This discovery is arguably the most compelling evidence presented by the IDF that there may be a network of tunnels beneath the hospital. While it does not definitively prove the existence of a command center, it is clear that there is a tunnel below. Understanding what connects to that tunnel is crucial. For Israel, the stakes are high. The country has long asserted that Hamas has built terror infrastructure beneath the hospital, and its ability to continue the war in the face of international criticism depends on proving this claim. Hamas has consistently denied the existence of a tunnel network below Shifa Hospital, as have health officials who insist that it is solely a medical facility. In the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, answers are rarely black and white. In this case, the question is simple. Either there is an underground series of tunnels below the hospital, or there is not.